and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level grammar lesson. Today we're going to be continuing talking about the simple present tense, and we're going to be looking at WH questions. So questions with the present simple. Here's some examples. Where do I find a doctor in this city? How often do you play the clarinet? And what do you do? More questions. How much does that ticket cost? How much do we need? How often do you drink coffee? So the sentence structure using question word would be the question word or the WH word, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and then do or does, then the subject, and then the infinitive form of the verb. So where do they want to go? How often do you work at home? What does this word mean in English? How much do the shoes cost? And where does he live now? And again, you notice the difference between do or does when the subject is an it, a he, she, or an it. So this word would be an it, so we use does. Here the subject is he, so we use does. But in all the other ones we use do. So ask and answer, what do you do? So what do you do means what is your job? So he is a police officer, he is a firefighter, he is a doctor. Alright, so we're going to look at first questions with where. Example, where does Tony live? He lives in London. Now go ahead and try the rest of these, fill in the blanks, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So where do Roger and Katrina work? They work in a bank. Where do they need to go? To the supermarket. They have no food in the house. And where do you take the bus to the town hall, go to Royal Street, and wait at the bus stop? Now, these are questions with how often. Again, you can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. How often do you eat Italian food? How often do you read the newspaper? How often does she watch foreign films? And how often does Sally clean the house? Now, the same thing, this time, these are what questions. So what do you do on vacation? What do Tony and Robin want to buy at the shopping center? And what does it mean in English? Now, how much questions? So how much does it cost to buy a ticket to Paris? How much flour do you need for that cake? How much do they like their new car? And how much does she earn at her new job? Now this time you'll need to decide which question word to use. Where, how often, what, or how much. Again, you can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So how often do you listen to rap music? Where do you study? How much do you want to eat? And what does 30 plus 12 equal? What does the temp on temp mean in English? Where does the King of England live? How often do Charles and Robert see each other? And how much does it cost to travel between Madrid and Barcelona? Now this time, you're going to unscramble the words to make sentences. Here's an example. Where live your grandma should be where does your grandma live? And remember that you'll need to add do or does to each question. Try those on your own and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so 24 is how often does it rain here? Does your brother like sushi? How often do they go to the cinema? Where do your uncle and aunt live? How much does a bus ticket to San Francisco cost? And what does this word mean in Spanish? How often does it snow in Canada? How much does a ticket to Waterloo Station cost? Where do they play sport? What does this sign mean? How often does Jack wash his car? And where do Ryan and Elle buy their groceries? All right, now you're going to change these statements or make a question for each statement. So she works in a bank. The question to get that answer would be where does she work? Again, try these on your own and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So I usually wash my hair 3 times a week. The question would be, how often do you wash your hair? It means be careful. So what does this word mean? He plays tennis often. How often does he play tennis? How much does it cost? Costs about $400. What do they do on the weekends? They usually play computer games. All right, so we're going to be looking at some of the short answers that go with these questions. So, do you enjoy going to the beach? Yes, I do. Does she like traveling? No, she doesn't. And do they play baseball? No, they don't. Do we have time for a coffee? No, we don't. Do I need to come with you? Yes, you do. Does it rain often in Sydney? No, it doesn't. So, to a question, we can give a long answer or a short answer. Do you want to come to the cinema tonight? Yes, we want to come, or yes, we do. Does the shop usually open on Sunday? No, it doesn't usually open on Sunday, or just no, it doesn't. All right, so positive and negative short answers. So you would start with the yes or no, then the subject, then the do or does, don't or doesn't. So we have yes plus the subject plus do or does. Yes, I do. Yes, you do. Yes, he, she, or it does. Yes, we do. Yes, they do. And then for negative answers, it's subject, or it's no, then subject, and then the do not, does not, don't, or doesn't. So no, I don't. No, you don't. No, he, she, or it doesn't. No, we don't. No, they don't. All right, so now give some positive short answers to each of these. Um, and then you can try this on your own and then restart when you're ready to check your, these are really just more your opinion, so you don't really need to check your answers. Um, and the same thing here, you can use some negative short answers. Do you work at the weekend? No, I don't. And you can try this on your own. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.